multiplication or division to solve an inequality compare to using the same operations to solve an equation? Think about this question during the lesson. Gina's pet pot-bellied pig is on a diet. It can have no more than 18 ounces of pig food per day. The bag's label says that each scoop holds 4 ounces of food. How many scoops can Gina feed the pig without going over 18 ounces?
Since the problem states that the pig can have no more than 18 ounces, we can write an inequality to represent the situation. The number of ounces per scoop times the number of scoops she feeds him must be less than or equal to the maximum daily number of ounces. Which part of the inequality is unknown?
Select your answer.
The number of scoops is the unknown. Use the variable s to represent the number of scoops. Each scoop holds 4 ounces. The maximum daily number of ounces is 18. Why should the inequality use the symbol for less than or equal to? The total can be equal to, but not greater than 18. You can solve the inequality just like you would solve an equation.
Use the inverse relationship between multiplication and division and the division property of inequality to isolate the variable. The number of scoops, s, is less than or equal to 4 5/10, or 4 1/2.
Now let's graph the solution to our inequality. The maximum value of s is 4 1/2. Let's check that our solution is reasonable in this situation. Gina can use parts of a scoop, so s can include fractions and decimals. However, Gina cannot feed the pig a negative amount of food. Gina can feed her pet pig up to 4 1/2 scoops of food.
Solve the inequality d divided by 7 is greater than 15. Then graph the solution.
They already set up our inequality and we're just going to solve for it. So we have we're going to multiply by 7 on both sides because d is dividing 7. So we're going to multiply by 7 on both sides. And, oh, I'm sorry, this is wrong. This is going to have our symbol, and then 7 belongs here. And so this 7 cancels out here, and then we're left with d is greater than, and then 15 times 7 that equals 105. So that shows that d is greater than 105. So we look for 105, which is about here. And this is going to be an open circle. And d is greater. So the arrow will go to the right to show all the possible solutions that are greater than 105. And it's an open circle because it does not equal or cannot equal 105, but it is any number greater than 105.
Solve the inequality negative 3 4/10 times m is less than or equal to 17. Then graph the solution.
So the first step to solving this would be doing the inverse of multiplying the negative 3 4/10 times m. So we would divide by negative 3 4/10 on both sides of our inequality. So we would have, negative 3 4/10 m, and then we're going to divide by the negative 3 and 4/10 on both sides of the inequality. And here's the, wait, 17 goes here. And then our symbol was the less than or equal to symbol. All right, so here's what we have. Now, what I did not say in the last slide, if you will, was that when you have a negative that you're dividing by, your symbol changes direction. So we started with a less than or equal to symbol, but when we divide our negative numbers, that symbol changes to the opposite. So now we have greater than or equal to. So m is greater than or equal to -5. And then we're going to close circle that because it is including that -5. And then it's all the numbers greater than -5. So let's solve this inequality. We have to do the inverse of multiplying -19 and 2/10 and divide. So we're going to divide that 19 and 2/10 on both sides. -19 and 2/10. And then we are going to cancel out these 19 and 2/10 on this side. And we're left with x. And then because it's negative, our symbol switches direction to be now less than symbol. And then 149 and 76/100 divided by -19 and 2/10 will give us -7 and 8/10. And so x is greater than -7 and 8/10. So we need to now graph this. So 7 and 8/10 on our number line. Let's see, about here on the negative side. And so -7 and 8/10 will be about here. So move that over about there. And this is going to be an open circle because it does not have that equal to underneath. And then x is greater. So our arrow is going to go to the right to show that all of these numbers are possible solutions to the inequality. Let's graph this next inequality. So now we are going to divide -3 and 25/100 from both sides of this inequality because that is the inverse of multiplying it to the y. So we're going to cancel that. We're left with y. The symbol changes direction to now being greater than, and then -61 and 75/100 divided by -3 and 25/100 is equal to 19. So y is greater than 19. So 19 is about here. And so we're going to use the little thing to show this. So 19 is here. No, actually it's about there. And then we're going to have an open circle. And because the y is greater than 19, our arrow is going to go to the right to show all the possible solutions for this inequality.
Solve the inequality r divided by -2 and 25/100 is greater than or equal to 7. Then graph the solution.
So we're going to multiply the -2 and 25/100 on both sides. and we're going to get the r by itself here. And when we do multiply it, we're going to get negative 15 and 75 hundredths. And then we're going to graph it, and it's going to be a closed circle because we have that less than or equal to. And it's going to be all the possible solutions that are less than that negative 15 and 75 hundredths. Now let's solve this inequality. We are going to multiply. We're going to multiply by the negative 0 and 5/10 on both sides of the inequality. And these are going to cancel out here. And then 12 times the negative 0 and 5/10 is equal to 6. So 6 is going to be less than, because remember when we are using a negative and we're moving it over to the other side, that symbol must change direction. So it's now less than k. So we're going to graph this inequality. So we have 6 as our value, and it was a negative 6. And it's going to be a open circle. And it's going to be k is greater, so all solutions to the right are going to be possible solutions for this inequality. Next, here we have negative 5/4 times h is greater than 25. We are going to divide this time the negative 5/4 on both sides of this inequality. That cancels. We're left with h, and this symbol changes direction because it is a negative that we're moving. And then we have 25. I'm going to write this over here. 25 divided by negative 5/4. And we're going to put that over 1. We're going to do keep, change, reciprocal. So we have 25 over 1 times 4/5, which is now is going to be negative. And then I like to simplify first. I say that every time. So I look diagonally across. 5 and 25 have a greatest common factor of 5. So that becomes a 1, that becomes a 5. Now when I multiply straight across, it's already simplified. So 5 times negative 4 is 20. It's going to be negative 20. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So h is less than or equal to 20. And so now when we graph this, we are going to have a closed circle. We're going to start at 20, negative 20. And so negative 20, and it's going to be less than or equal to. So it's going to be to our left. So that will be all the possible solutions for this inequality.